thing that's interesting about the 49ers is that their leaders usually aren't quarterbacks, because to be a leader on a football team, you have to really be one of the best players on the team, if not the best player. And the Niners haven't had a quarterback that's been in that category since Jeff Garcia. So every year it seems like there might be a different leader on the team, the player that everyone looks to as, yeah, you're probably the best of all of us, and we respect you the most.
Okay.
A couple years ago, it might have been Debo. Who do you think it is now? A couple years ago, it might have been Kittle. Who do you think it is now?
Iggy, I'd rather come around at the back door. Let's name prominent players who are not the leader, and then reveal the leader in 3 minutes. Is that okay?
Sure. Absolutely. I like that.
Okay. I'm going to say the middle linebacker is
Fred Warner.
Fred Warner is a very good player and has been a leader, but isn't the leader. I'm going to rule him out.
No, I don't think he's the leader either.
So
he's the voice of the team. He talks, but he's not the best player on the defense. He's not the best player on the team. It's not Fred. He's not the leader of this team. He's the voice of it.
And he's not participating right now. Right.
That's another thing. Anyone who chose not to participate in the practices and minicamp, I feel like you kind of took yourself out of the running.
I would also say Kittle is not the leader.
Not anymore. He maybe 3-4 years ago.
But he's declined a little bit.
Yes.
And he's what I would call, if this were a movie, he'd be a supporting player.
I would agree. Like, he's like the third option in the passing game.
Right.
Yeah.
Not Ayuk. As great as he is, I don't think he's been there long enough, or is and he's sort of, his personality is a background personality. He's a tremendous competitor, and he has fire and fury, but I don't see him going around and talking to people and saying you got to do like Steve Young would.
Agree.
I don't see
also,
that.
And to your point, he's younger than these other guys. He's not quite there yet. Yeah.
I don't think the left tackle is a leader on the team. I think he's a leader of himself.
Agree. Same with the DN.
Oh gosh, I think they like him very much.
Sure.
Bosa. We're talking about Bosa.
Mm-hmm.
I think they like him very much. He could be the leader, but I don't see him that way.
I don't think he wants to be. They made him a captain. He has to do speeches. I don't think he likes doing speeches. He doesn't even live out here. He doesn't really participate in off-season stuff. I think he doesn't. No, not a leader.
And I would say Debo,
independent contractor.
Yeah, independent. I love it. A freelancer. And Debo, no way. No way.
No, he puts himself above the team too much. At least he has it last year.
Yeah. So, Iggy, I think we agree on who it is. Why don't you say and give the reasons?
To me, the leader of this team, the 2023 49ers, is Christian McCaffrey. And I think everyone knows it. He's been on the team. He hasn't been here long. He's in the prime of his career. I think everyone thinks he's the best player on the team. Certainly the best player on the offense. Maybe it's Bosa or Trent Williams, but those two guys have reached a level. I don't think they don't need to prove themselves daily. Christian McCaffrey was out in every practice, like practicing the hardest. And when you're the best player and you do that, it seems like you're the leader. Like, that's the kind of stuff that Jerry Rice did for 10 years. It's the kind of stuff George Kittle used to do. Not many great players do it anymore. Once you achieve that status, you kind of start protecting your body. But remember, he's been on a terrible team forever. This is his first full season on a good team, and I think that he feels like this is going to be the year that puts him in the Hall of Fame. He has those kind of aspirations. I could be a Hall of Fame running back. He's got Bobby Turner, who coached Terrell Davis, and looks at Christian McCaffrey and says, you're one of the best running backs I've ever seen, I've ever coached. So I think he's incredibly driven, and I think he's leading this team, driving this team right now.
I love it.
McCaffrey.
And, I have to admit, Iggy, I have certain misgivings about him. I'm a Stanford guy, and he walked out on the team. And all I know is when I was a student at Stanford, Jim Plunkett played in the Rose Bowl. He didn't say, gee, I might get hurt. I better not play in the Rose Bowl. And this kid walked out before a bowl game. And I have to say, I understand why he did. It made economic sense, but he was a Stanford football player, and it bothered me. Having said that, he's not walking out on the Niners. He's busting his chops. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I remember correctly, he really did have a good reason to sit out that game. I just want to look real quick how much David Shaw overused this kid. I mean, his final game in Stanford, He carried the ball 30 times. The
Oh,
previous game, he carried the ball 31 times. 2 games before that, he carried the ball 32 times. He's an amateur. David Shaw should be ashamed of himself. He should be ashamed of
you know,
himself.
I see what you're saying. And in other words, he was afraid he's just going to overwork me, and I could really get hurt in this game.
You gave
So
me
it
the
was
ball
a
32 times against Cal. What are you going to do in a bowl game?
yeah. So in a way, it was a comment on David.
Yeah, who, frankly, he's not a coach anymore.
No, he's not. I think he's
No.
he's not an old guy. He's in retirement. What one coach told me was that David Shaw never changed his offense, and the Pac 75, they all knew what he was going to do all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And he looked like a genius when he had what's his face? Andrew Luck, but I think anyone
Andrew
looked like
Luck.
a genius. I'm just saying, when he was a sophomore, he had 380 touches. 380 touches in 14 games? That's child abuse. Are you kidding me? You can't do that. Anyway,
Okay.
I respect Christian McCaffrey. Salute to you.
Salute to you, Christian. And
Yeah.
I no longer have misgivings about you. I have misgivings about David Shaw, who, by the
Yeah.
way, is a very nice man,
He
but
is.
I think he's used up as a coach. And it's funny, at one point, Iggy, people were saying maybe he should be the coach of the 49ers in a pig's eye.
Yeah. But I just think that whole dynamic, it's not that David Shaw is a bad person. It just shows the how hypocritical college sports are. Like, David has to win, right? And McCaffrey's his best player by far. So what's he going to do? Give him 15 carries and be like, have a good time in the NFL while I get fired? Like, no, he's going to give him the ball as many times it takes to win. But that guy's not getting paid. It's not fair to him. So the whole thing is, well, now they're getting paid. So I don't know. Maybe it's better now. All right, let's take some super chats. Double B Studio says, Kyler Murray plays and moves like I play Madden. I haven't played Madden since I was in high school. Is it still fun? I heard it was terrible. Lobs All Day says, AZ is tanking with coach. They hired free agency, etc. They drafted Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. They own the Texans' first-round pick and their own. Does that mean that they would want to play Brock to tank? I don't think so. Lobs All Day, thank you. Double B Studio, if QB Price was involved, Purdy would start.
Oh, because he's so cheap?
Yeah. How many teams want a cheap quarterback and how many teams want a good quarterback, though?
Yeah.
Niners want a cheap quarterback. Josh Wyatt says the question isn't if the team would prefer Brock Purdy over their quarterback. It's whether they would prefer to pay their quarterback or have Brock Purdy cheap for 3 years. No, that's all part of it. Would you rather have Brock and his elbow and his contract or someone else? I think a lot of teams would pay a premium for a little bit more. Irfan, do you see Mina Kimes' head coach ranking? She put Kyle Shanahan number 2. I find that hard to justify.
I don't know who Mina Kimes is.
Anakit says CMC is the leader, leads by example, and is younger. I would say so. The leading by example is key.
Wait. I want to come back to who ranked Kyle number 2?
Mina Kimes. She's a prominent analyst with ESPN. She does a good job. I just don't agree with her. I don't know
she ranks
why
Kyle Shanahan as the second best coach in the league.
I think so. I didn't read the article, though, so I don't. Maybe not. I heard that she did.
Okay, let me ask you a question, and then we'll move on. I got nothing against her since I only heard of her 3 seconds ago. Has she ever been to a practice?
To a Niners practice? Not that I've been. I think she's Seattle-based, and she's up covering the Seahawks a lot. I don't know the first thing about Mina Kimes, and I didn't read this article, so I can't talk about it.
Okay,
Anakin says CMC is the leader, leads by example, and is younger. Sure. Mui says, I think you have to promote anomalies to support BP franchise logic. 2 small franchise quarterbacks in the last 10 years, Wilson and Murray. Only one has been truly successful, and Brock Purdy has neither arm nor athleticism. So he's saying that Brock Purdy's an anomaly just because of his small stature. And if you look at these quarterbacks who are really small, how many of them have truly been successful? Like, not even Kyler.
And I agree. And one thing that we still need to learn, and this sounds crazy, is how good is Brock Purdy? We don't know.
And it's like, and we should know that we still have to learn this. We just went through the Jimmy Garoppolo experience. Right. He started off 16-2 as a starter. 16-2. And that didn't mean anything. Bobby D, who's the team captains in 2023? They haven't named him yet. It'll be McCaffrey, Kittle, Trent Williams, Debo. Not Debo. Armstead, Bosa, Warner, Hufanga, something like that. Shavi says, who wins a Super Bowl, Kyle or Kaepernick or Jim Harbaugh and Trey Lance? And do you think Harbaugh would develop Lance more than Kyle? Neither. Would Harbaugh develop Lance more than Kyle? Yes. Harbaugh was a quarterback. He's a better quarterback coach than Kyle. Yes.
I 100% agree.